Hi everyone. So we're back at home training. So we're going to look at now the movements from seated guard. These movements, I've said time and time again in class, they are so important. You will not be able to play this position without having a full understanding of where to do these movements, how to do these movements. You can practice these at home. There's no reason now why you can't train. Like, yes, we're not allowed to be on the mats. We're in lockdown. We have to find reasons to keep progressing with our martial arts training. I've said it in other videos and stuff. Once you decide that you're a martial artist, and for me, I just go, I'm a martial artist for life. Doesn't matter what's going on around me, what environment I'm in, I always find a way to do something to train. Whether it's like if I'm super sick and I have no access to videos, I'll just close my eyes and visualize. If I've got access to some sort of way to work out, I'll always work out when I can. Or I'll watch YouTube and study. Like there's no reason why you can't do something every day to train. So, there's yoga and all other reasons as well. But right now we're looking at seated guard. So seated guard, the movements from seated guard, you can practice this in your lounge room, wherever you like. Firstly, you want to make this posture feeling quite comfortable. If you're a body type that can't do this, maybe for tight hips, and you're like this sort of position here, and you're very round, you can start in this sort of bias off to one side. There's people who make this work quite well as well, but eventually you really want to try and work to get to here. And that may be just some stretching and, change some habits and you can get there. So the elbows have to be on inside of the knees and your hands have to be able to touch your feet quite easily. Because if you're sitting like this and you have an opponent standing above you, stand up for this one, and your feet are accessible, I just pick up my leg. Yeah, pick them up. This is a problem. Yeah, you need to be able to have your hands so if Ruby goes to that again, I can start attacking and throwing out offense straight away. So you want to keep your feet tucked in. Another reason is too, when you're playing in this guard here while your feet are tucked in, you want your partner to not feel any threat. And if you keep your feet out there, then Ruby's going to stay away and I can't reach her. You want to entice them to come in so you can get good connection and grips. So if your feet are in, now Ruby comes forward and I'm like, okay, now I'll get my connection and start hooking up some attacking guard. So you want to be quite comfortable sitting like this with your elbows on the inside. Never have your elbows on the outside. It's quite easy to get your legs tipped over, okay? So that's the basic position or posture of this. Now, movements first. You want to follow on?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? We're sitting here. Next one. First one, moving forward. Pretty easy. Taken to the left. Pretty easy. But make sure when you move each side, don't keep your knees tilted outwards. Don't turn your knees up and do this. Let's keep them out and back to here. Pretty simple. The one that some people struggle with, it's generally a mobility issue, is pushing their feet into the floor to make space to go back. But all those movements you want to be able to do with minimal touching the floor. There is times sometimes when you feel the threat, you might scoot back quick, but it's a vulnerability. You're much better off being able to move forward to start off throwing out offense, move back, left and right. You want to be able to stay here. Yeah? So they're basically moving in all four directions in your seated guard. The next one is when someone goes to guard past you and they've gotten past really the foot line, your feet line, right? So if Ruby goes on her knees just for this one and passes to my side, if I just try and turn into her now, like my feet are out of the way, like my feet, it's too late just to turn in. So I've got to get my chest central towards Ruby's chest. You can make a post on the shoulder, across here, however you like, you want to make a post. And now my hand on the floor, which lifts my hips up, and I scoop my butt and realign. So if Ruby passes the other way, see, I turn my chest towards her, post, my legs are out of the picture, I can't just turn. I've got to scoop my hips, push my feet into the floor, and readjust. So this might be someone who's a speed passer. Go one more time, Ruby, I turn my chest first, make a little frame, lift your hip, and readjust, and then start to get your grips and throw out some offense. That's scooting. It's a pretty simple one, but it's something you can practice at home. You can just be here, just picture in your mind, instead of like you see common patterns when you teach, particularly beginners, that we go off our instinct, and an instinct of when someone starts playing seated guard, if someone passes, it's just lay down and hold them away. Now essentially what you've done is put your back on the mat, and that's exactly what Rubes wants. Boom. So if you're playing seated guard and you want to play seated guard, don't just lie down when your opponent puts some pressure on you. And that's such a common instinctive move that people do. So now when you're at home picturing scooting, picture someone passes your guard to the side, put your hand on the mat and move. Go here, put your hand on the mat and move. If you want to play seated guard, play seated guard. Don't let them, instigate where the match is going. So, it's quite obvious you can practice this here, just moving around the mat. But make sure when you do this, you visualize what's happening. Because what you're trying to do is build those triggers in your mind when you're under pressure, just to react to these correct movements. So that's when, doing this in repetition just at home and visualizing, with a clear intent in your mind what's happening, you'll be training to roll different when you're back on the mat. Yeah, so always picturing what's happening. So there's someone's passing, adjust your chest to center, realign the center line, and then maybe hit an arm drag or something off of that. That can all be done without a partner, or you can do it with someone you live with or whatever. So scooting. So you've got the four movements of direction: forward, back, left, right, scooting. The next one is inverting. So this is when the threat is even further along. So Rubes has now gone almost to side control. Come around. Okay, so look how close Ruby's head is to mine. Now I'm into real trouble. This is good, because Ruby gets her head across me and puts me flat, no good. If I try and turn back in, it's too late. I'm just putting myself into a cross face. So Ruby goes to put her weight on me, I'll follow my side, cross my legs, lift my hip, invert, and put it back. Pass the other way. So your head's close, I move my head away, shoulder on the mat, cross my leg, invert, and come back. So you can do this quite late in a jiu-jitsu match. Rolling, shoulder rolling. We've practiced this up and down the mat. You've done this so many times in class where you roll through, inverting on your shoulders and coming back. That's essentially what we're doing. So one more time with Ruby. Notice how far our heads are apart here. So we're like, good, we can attack here. Second she goes past, it's like, oh, look how close the head is now. It's like, okay, if I just try and turn in, I'm straight away in the cross face. So I move my head away, fall to my shoulder, stay tight, move. Now stay on top. Cross my leg, lift my hip. You must lift your hip. If you try and roll back from here, just swing your leg, your hips are on the floor, hips up. Then roll through, quite easy to get back, yeah? So the way to practice this at home, put your hip first, so here, fall on your side, direct to your side, don't fall back. That's all we're not doing. You're playing seated guard. Fall to your side. Cross. Hip up. Head between your knees. Recapture them. Fall on your side. Cross your leg. Head rolls in between the knees. Make sure your head goes in between the knees. And you recapture them in. The secret to making that strong is getting that head in between the knees. So you get side, cross. When you roll through, don't roll back from here. You have to get your head tucked in and under, so the top of your head on the mat as you roll through. Anytime you're inverting to try and get back to guard, that head must go in between the knees. The last one, where your partner passes, you need some sort of grip for this. So if it was gi, you got the same side collar, cross collar, and if it's no gi, just like a collar tie here, making sure your forearms here, not a headlock, all right? Has to be something in between you and them. Now, Ruby goes to pass, yeah? So now from here, even if I'm down flat, I can do this. But a little earlier, first here, hand on the mat, Ruby keeps her waiting. If I try and turn back in, I can't. So I turn my knees down, hip up, and then come back. Go the other side. We're here. Well, hand, turn away. See, Ruby's trying to take my back. She can't see my collar grip stopping her. Then I turn back through. So one again. Pass that side again, yeah. So I'm here, look. like I'm getting really close to being past it. She smashed through my legs. I turn my knees down, so my hips up. So my hips off the floor, move my hip away, and readjust. You can do extreme versions of this, where you're sort of combining techniques. If you've watched the laying on your back guard one where you use the pendulum. So you use the pendulum to come up on your elbow. Yeah. Now I've got this grip. Turn my knees down. And then coming back. So hoisting your hip up. So, you know, the basic movement is crossing on your elbow, crossing your leg, lifting your hip, readjusting. So we're here, got your collar, cross your leg, lifting your hip, readjusting. Yeah? Can be done on an elbow prop or a hand prop. Depends how far along. Ideally, you're on your hand, but it can be done on the elbow as well, but ideally on your hand. So one more time. Ribbies passing my guard. See if I'm here, on the hand's easy because it's easy to lift your hip up. Turn down, turn back. That collar grip will be safe. So if you like a no-gi sort of person and you want to know what happens there, this is fine. Put your weight on your ribs, fine. Look. Turn your knees down and come back. What you can't do though is grab the head. Turn like this, you're just giving up your back. So seatbelt roofs, this is trouble. Very good. So hoisting your hip up off the floor is huge. So you can practice this. It's basically just sitting like this, hand on the mat, lift your hip. So my partner's coming around this way. So I'm playing guard here. Maybe I've got a cross collar or a cross collar. They're coming around. So I've got the collar. I turn away, which would, you know, on instincts, your mind's like, no, because I'm turning my back. But if you've got this collar grip, it's okay. Yeah? You turn your knees down and lift your hip. Turn back through. And you're okay, as long as you got that collar grip or a good collar tie. They're coming around this way, and you just picture this, you know, at home. You hear seated guard, someone comes around and says, oh, okay, I can't turn in. Hand on the mat, turn down, come back. And that is, you know, a great saviour. Like you can get your face turned away. You can almost be under a cross face sometimes and do it from under side control as well. Is hoisting your hip up. Yeah. You have to practice that one. I know there's that fear of turning your back, but it is an essential one. You know, you've got that one grip, they've passed, your knees are tilted the wrong way. Inverting might be, you know, it can't be an option. Hoisting up is essential. So you've got the 4 movements, scooting on your butt. Sorry, all 4 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then someone's a bit more closer to passing, so your hand on the mat, turning your chest towards them. Scooting, coming around this way. Scooting, readjusting. Then the rolling, inverting, the head's coming real close to you. Cross your leg, invert, roll through, recapture them in your legs. And then the hoisting, where they're passing around. All you've got is this. Hand on the mat or elbow. Cross the leg, turn the knees down, and then turn back. From seated guard, you must be able to do all these movements. And next time, I guarantee if you practice this at home, next time you roll from seated guard, you will start to be so much more aware of the response you should have with the threat of the guard pass. And even if you make a mistake the first time you roll, I'm sure you'll be aware and go, you know what, next time, instead of inverting, I'm going to hip hoist, and so forth. Your awareness of guard retention will go through the roof. You'll be able to, you know, go over in your own mind where you went right and where you go wrong a lot more with these movements. So please practice them at home. Please practice them with visualizing in your head, and it's going to be an essential part of your game forever in jiu-jitsu. You're going to use this to the end of time. So hopefully see you on the mat soon. Train hard, and yeah, thanks guys.